Good morning, saints, and welcome to the Dixon's Devotion. Today we are going to be looking at Psalm chapter 31. And in Psalm chapter 31, it's a prayer of a person who is depressed, whose circumstances have taken hold of them. But yet, in all of this, they find hope and trust in the Lord. And here it is, the psalmist David. And yes, the psalmist David is also proof that great men and great women at certain point in their life will face some level of depression when situation around them seems to be closing on them. But yet in this psalm, David knows who his hope is and his trust is in. Now in this psalm we are going to see two basic cycles. From verse 1 to verse 8 we are going to see cycle 1, where we're going to see prayer, then we're going to see trust, then we're going to see thanksgiving. And then from verse 9 right down to 24 is the second cycle, where we're going to see that refrain. We're going to see complaint, from complaint, trust, then prayer, and then thanksgiving. So this is the repeated refrain of this psalm. Now, these psalms also depict, as I said, the Christian journey. There are times we're up on a high mountain, then we go down in the valley, and then we climb back up to the high, then we go back down into the valley. So when we look at these psalms, we are going to see this movement up. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're low, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're low. And there are certain portions of this psalm we can see where it refers to Jesus Christ, like for example in verse 5 when he said, "Into thy hands I commit thy spirit." We know that is also what Jesus, one of the sayings of Jesus Christ on the cross. You can look at that in Luke chapter 23:46. So we see what's going on here in the psalm. As I said, the first cycle is from verse 1 to verse 8, where David is going through this struggle. A time when his faith is strong, a time when his faith is waning because of the situation, yet a time again when he find help and he find strength. Now when we look at verse 1 of this psalm, it said, "In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in thy righteousness. Bow down thine ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be thou my strong rock, for an house of defense to save me." So we see right there his prayer, "For thou art my rock and my fortress." Now when we look from verse 1, as I said, to verse 8, we see the first cycle. And in these cycles we see how David is putting his trust, his hope, and his confidence in his God. And as children of God, we go through and we face these difficult times, these difficult moments and times, and we need to ask God, we need to put our trust and our confidence in God. So here David is pleading to God, and David is asking God to strengthen him. David is putting his trust in his God, and that God will just uplift him and God will uphold him. So we see the first part of the psalm, "In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust." Then he goes on, "Lord, don't let my enemy destroy me. Lord, don't let them overtake me. Lord, don't let them bring me down to the pit." And then he said, "Lord, into thy hands I commit my spirit." In other words, what he's saying, Lord, I commit my life, I commit everything into your hands. Now as we look at and consider the other part of the psalms from verse 9 onwards, we are going to see where David again start the cycle, "Have mercy upon me." You see that the cry or the complaint, "O Lord, for I am in trouble. Mine eyes is consumed with grief, fear my soul and my belly. For my life is spent with grief, and my years with sigh. My strength faileth because of mine iniquity, and my bones are consumed." So you see right here, we see the prayer, and then from the prayer we see David, depression. He is in a depressed state. "Lord, delivered me. Lord, strengthen me. Lord, and he described his emotion, how he feel, the sighing, the tears. I mean, this situation was bearing down on him so much that he felt it in his bones. I was reproached among all my enemies, but especially among my neighbors, and a fear to my acquaintances. They that did see me without fled from me. So even, he said, his enemies reproach him, even those close to him, his neighbors and his acquaintances. Have you ever been in that situation? So we see David was in a depressed state because of his situation. He said, I am forgotten as a dead man, out of mind. I am like a broken vessel. Like, you know, when you're up on a high and things going good, people want to be around you. But the moment something happened to you and you go down in a low valley, nobody wants to be around you, and that's how the human nature is. He said, you can count your friends, your true friends, when you're going through trials and you're going through struggles. And this is what David said. The people, his neighbors, the people, his friends, all of a sudden they don't want anything to do with him because of what he's going through. And we know the human nature is like that. You know, people, you have many friends when you're successful, but the day when you fail, you have limited friends. And that's how it is. For I have heard the slander of many. Fear was on every side, while they that took counsel together against me, they devised to take away my life. And also this is a messianic portion, when Jesus Christ, when they took counsel to take Jesus Christ's life. This part is messianic, where you can see it refer also to Jesus Christ. And then we see now the trust part in verse 14. But I trust in thee, O Lord. I said, thou art my God. My times are in thy hands. Deliver me from the hands of my enemies and from them that persecute me. So you see David, we see the complaint, we see the prayer. Now we see the trust again is in God. And he said, Lord, I put everything into your hands. And that's what we need to do. When we are going to these things, put our trust, put everything into God's hand. Make thy face to shine upon thy servant. Save me for thy mercy's sake. Let me not be ashamed, O Lord, for I have called upon thee. Let the wicked be ashamed, and let them be silent in the grave. And he started to put his trust now in God, and he started to give God thanks for future deliverance while he was going through the situation. And in verse 20, thou shalt hid them in the secret of thy presence. For the pride of man, thou shalt keep them secretly in the pavilion from the strife of the tongue. Blessed be the Lord, for he has shown me his marvelous kindness in a strong city. For I said in my haste, I am cut off from before thine eyes. Nevertheless, thou heardest the voice of my supplication when I cried unto thee. So we see thanksgiving again, trust again. Oh, love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully rewardeth the proud doer. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. So we see right here, it end off. It always start from a low, go up, reach a peak, go back down into the valley, and then reach a peak of trust again and thanksgiving. During all this time, he said, Lord, I'm going to trust you because I know you preserve those who trust in you. Even the enemies, even the people, things happen in your life and people turn against you instead of being there with you. One person I can trust, and that's God. And he said, he ended the prayer with this praise and this encouragement to all of us. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. Whatever situation you're going through, be of good courage, and God will strengthen your heart. I know it's time you feel overwhelmed. we feel like to say, Lord, I give up. But put your trust in God and let God deliver you. Saints, have a wonderful day, and may the Lord's blessings be with you.